5G technology is coming to a city near you. Finally, the 5th generation of wireless technology will create so-called smart cities, a city that not only has driverless cars, but also sanitation services where dumpsters can alert trash trucks when it's full. 5G technology will also boost the economy and create new jobs in those cities. But where do communities of color fit into the growth of this new technology? Recently, the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies released a report called 5G, Smart Cities and Communities of Color. It examines how municipal leaders and communication companies can increase opportunities for people of color. All right, Spencer Overton, President of the Joint Center, break it down for us in this report.
So, Roland, we're talking about the future of people of color. As you know, automation, innovation is leaving Silicon Valley, is going on across the country. If you think about just the grocery store, checkout line, it's happening. Now, the question is, are black folks going to basically get the leftovers, or are we going to be on the forefront? You remember Hidden Figures, women, they knew that IBM was coming, and they went out and learned Fortran, and they were ready. So the question is, how can we, as black folks, be ready in terms of this technology coming in?
All right, so how we look in terms of, and we say us being ready, look, black consumers, one thing.
Right.
Using is one thing.
Right.
I'm talking about making money from it.
That's absolutely right. So number one, we need elected officials to be at the forefront, these mayors, to negotiate with wireless companies to say, hey, we want some black companies, we want a workforce to install this, right? There's a whole infrastructure that has to be installed. We want black folks there in terms of installation. We don't want to be late adopters. We want to be at the forefront, get this 5G in. And let's just say what it does. It basically makes this 10 times faster, right? So if you're downloading a movie, it takes 20 minutes, it's only going to take 2 minutes. But what that really means is that companies will want to use this because of the Internet of Things. And if you think about your Fitbit, right, but you can apply that to machines, robotics, everything. It's just the infrastructure of the future. So we can get a first-run infrastructure in our communities and attract economic development if this is in. We also need to make sure there's no redlining, that we're not putting 5G in some parts of a city, but not other parts. So we need it all over the place. We also need our HBCUs and our community colleges to really tune in on the jobs of the future, these new economy jobs, so that we have the skills for those new jobs.
Well, one of the things that jumps out to me when we talk about this is I'm always about when people look at majors, just like we were just talking about.
Right.
That is positioning for the jobs of the future.
Right.
And as I said, the program that ComEd did, they're going to need people to be installing the technology.
That's absolutely
Everything is not going to be wireless. I mean, bottom line is you got to have your lines. You got to have your, some cities are above ground, some are below ground.
Right.
And the key, and those are high-paying jobs.
Right.
And the key is to whether or not we're going to be actually the ones employed.
Right. Well, our minority contractors, our black contractors are going to get the contracts to install them, and then is there going to be this black workforce? And when we talk about installing, we're talking about a device that's about as big as a pizza box and putting it on a telephone pole. So we're not talking about just putting up big towers. There are going to be some towers.
Somebody's got to still climb that telephone pole.
Somebody's got to do it, and we can do this, right? I mean, we have helped put people on the moon. We can do this.
Angela?
I think we also need to be looking at, for the people who can, begin to invest into this industry. For those of us in Black America who can afford to, so we can also begin to develop ownership there.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
That's right. And content is also key. I mean, for those folks who are out there who are thinking, well, where do I fit in? I'm in the humanities, or I like to write. Well, you know, you need to develop your skills as well, because once this infrastructure is up and once these things are in play, you've got to be able to fill these airwaves and do all, I mean, but you got to, as you said, if you don't know, you don't know. This is a problem. So this report is key, Spencer. I'm glad this.
But you also are looking at a problem here where you have the FCC, which pulled back with the election of Trump. Now Republicans have a 3-2 majority. That this is not a utility. The reality is this here, okay? And I don't care what anybody says. We have gotten to the point where internet is a utility.
That's right.
It is. I mean, I'm telling you right now, the neighborhood where I moved to a couple of years ago, the house, horrible internet.
Right.
I am literally considering moving because of its slow internet.
Right.
That's the equivalent of having your power go out
That's right.
with a bad power grid. So when you talk about phone, power, the internet is the same thing now.
And Roland, we're not just talking about downloading the movie, right? We're talking about access teleworking, right? We're talking about access to job training. We're talking about real things that impact folks' lives.
We're talking about monitoring your home, being able to turn your home on and off, being able to turn your appliances on and off by virtue of an app on your phone. You forgot to lock your doors. Now you be able to, I mean, again, and having that level of technology, that high-speed internet is vital.
And right now, twice the number of black folks, or twice the rate of black folks, are likely to get their primary source of internet from this, right? Rather than a home line, right?
Yeah,
so we can
actually, even before, when there was a so-called digital divide, black folks over-indexed on, because we had a choice between cell phones or home phones. So we were actually ready when the mobile phone thing blew up, because that's all we had.
That's right. But right now, this speed is not the same as the wireline home speed.
Absolutely.
So if we can get this 10 times faster, that really expands high-speed broadband access to a lot of black folks.
Where can folks look at the report?
Thanks so much. Jointcenter.org. Jointcenter.org. Folks can look at the report.
All right. Coming back in 60 seconds, News One Now TV.